Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stop for a moment, and there are moments in life when a single decision can change everything. These moments often come quietly, without fanfare or warning, yet they hold the power to shape the course of decades. A choice made today, in just a few short hours, can determine the opportunities you embrace, the challenges you overcome, and the legacy you leave behind. The weight of our choices is not always clear in the moment, but time reveals their significance. Every great achievement, every life of meaning and purpose began with a moment of decision. The men and women who have shaped history, who have left behind something greater than themselves, did not wait for the perfect time or the ideal circumstances. They chose. They stepped forward when others hesitated. They understood that the decisions they made in a single moment could direct the next 30 years of their lives. Think about where you stand right now. Maybe you are at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. Maybe you feel stuck, weighed down by past mistakes or lost time. But here is the truth. Time is not your enemy. Indecision is. The future is not determined by chance, but by choice. It is in your hands. And it does not take years of planning or endless preparation. It takes a single moment of commitment. It takes 3 hours of focused decision-making that can set the course for the next 30 years. The decisions that matter most are not always the loudest ones. They do not always come with applause or recognition. They happen in the quiet moments when no one is watching. They happen when a man decides to turn away from a path that leads nowhere and chooses to walk a road that demands more of him. They happen when a woman refuses to settle for a life of mediocrity and instead reaches for something greater. These decisions shape our lives more than any circumstances ever could. If you look back on your life, you will see that the most defining moments were often not the ones you expected. These sentences don't add any heading. ChatGPT said, 3 hours, that's all it takes. Not a lifetime, not a decade, not even a year, just 3 hours of absolute focus, dedication, and purpose can set the foundation for the next 30 years of your life. The problem for most people is not that they lack time. It is that they do not use their time wisely. They allow distractions to steal their potential, and they let days, months, and years slip by without ever making a real commitment to change. But the truth is, change does not require a lifetime. It begins in a moment, and it can take root in just 3 intentional hours. Imagine sitting down with yourself, away from the noise, away from the endless distractions of daily life, and deciding with absolute clarity what you want the next 30 years to look like. Imagine choosing with unwavering focus to invest 3 hours into setting your course, creating a plan, and making the kind of decisions that move mountains. Because the difference between those who live with purpose and those who drift aimlessly is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the ability to focus, to commit, and to take action in the moments that matter most. What can you do in 3 hours? You can map out a vision for your life, identifying exactly where you want to go and what steps will get you there. You can make a decision that alters the direction of your future, choosing to step away from what is holding you back and step into what will push you forward. You can commit to breaking a habit that has been keeping you from growth, or you can start a new habit that will define the person you become. 3 hours is enough time to reflect on the path you have been walking and determine whether it is leading you where you truly want to go. It is enough time to reset, to refocus, and to make the hard choices that will bear fruit for decades to come. The problem is not the length of time. It is whether you have the discipline to truly focus, to put aside distractions, and to give yourself the opportunity to change. Most people do not fail because they lack the ability to succeed. They fail because they never stop long enough to decide where they are going. They live in reaction, always responding to whatever comes their way, never taking control of their own direction. But 3 hours of focus is enough to take back control. It is enough to shift your thinking, to see the possibilities ahead, and to take the first steps toward making them a reality. It does not take years of waiting. It does not take endless preparation. It takes 3 hours of clarity, 3 hours of honest reflection, 3 hours of decisive action. The question is not whether you have the time. The question is whether you are willing to use it with purpose, whether you are willing to take 3 hours and make them count for the next 30 years. Because when you do, you will never be the same. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the force that turns dreams into reality, intentions into achievements, and wishes into legacies. Talent may open doors, luck may give you an opportunity, but without discipline, nothing lasts. If you want to create a future that is different from your past, if you want the next 30 years to be filled with purpose, success, and fulfillment, then you must make discipline a priority today. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build, something you strengthen through daily commitment. It is the choice to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It is waking up and pushing forward when excuses would be easier. It is standing firm in your purpose when distractions try to pull you away. Those who accomplish great things do not do so because they are more gifted or more fortunate than others. They do so because they have learned to master themselves. They have trained their minds and bodies to work toward their goals, regardless of how they feel in the moment. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you want, whenever you want. True freedom comes from discipline. The freedom to live life on your terms, to have the success and impact you desire, only comes when you have paid the price of discipline. The athlete who wins championships has disciplined their body for years before stepping onto the podium. The entrepreneur who builds a thriving business has disciplined themselves to work when others rested. The person who lives with peace and purpose has disciplined their mind to reject negativity and focus on what truly matters. The cost of discipline is high, but the cost of regret is far greater. Every choice you make today is shaping the future you will live in. If you refuse to be disciplined in your habits, in your work, in your relationships, and in your faith, you will find yourself looking back with regret, wondering where the years went and why things never changed. But if you commit to discipline today, you will wake up years from now with gratitude, knowing that every small effort, every hard decision, every sacrifice led you to a life of meaning and fulfillment. Discipline is not about perfection. It is not about never making mistakes. It is about consistency. It is about choosing to show up, to keep going, to refuse to quit. The most successful people in any field are not those who never failed. They are those who refuse to stop. They fell, but they got back up. They struggled, but they stayed committed. They felt tired, discouraged, and unsure, but they did what needed to be done anyway. It all starts with small decisions. Waking up a little earlier to work on your dream, saying no to distractions that steal your time, following through on commitments even when it's inconvenient. Discipline is built in these small moments, and over time, it becomes a way of life. It becomes part of who you are. And when that happens, success is no longer a question of if, it is only a question of when. What you sow today, you will reap for years to come. This is an unchanging law of life. No one plants seeds in the ground and expects an instant harvest, yet so many people want immediate success without putting in the effort. They want a future filled with abundance, purpose, and joy, but they refuse to plant the right seeds today. Every action, every habit, every choice is a seed being planted into the soil of your life, and whether you realize it or not, your harvest will come. Not immediately, but inevitably. If you want a life of success, you must plant the seeds of hard work, discipline, and perseverance. If you want strong relationships, you must plant the seeds of love, patience, and sacrifice. If you want to walk in wisdom and truth, you must plant the seeds of learning, humility, and faith. Too many people look at where they are today and feel discouraged, but they fail to see that today's circumstances are simply the result of yesterday's planting. If you want the next 30 years to look different, you must start planting differently today. The challenge is that the harvest does not come overnight. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes faith to believe that what you are doing now will pay off in the future. This is where many people lose heart. They start strong, but when they do not see immediate results, they give up. They stop watering the seeds they planted. They walk away from the fields they worked so hard to cultivate. They convince themselves that their efforts were wasted, when in reality, they were closer to the harvest than they ever realized. A farmer does not question whether his seeds will grow. He does not dig them up each day to check if they are working. He understands that growth is happening beneath the surface, even when he cannot see it. He trusts the process. He continues to water, to nurture, to care for his crops, knowing that in time the harvest will come. Life works the same way. The seeds you plant today will grow, whether for good or for bad. If you plant laziness, you will reap a harvest of failure. If you plant excuses, you will reap a harvest of missed opportunities. But if you plant commitment, if you plant faithfulness, if you plant consistent effort, your future will be filled with abundance. Many people look at the success of others and believe it happened overnight. They see the results, but not the years of planting that came before. They see the rewards, but not the sacrifice. They do not see the late nights, the early mornings, the battles fought in silence, the moments when quitting seemed like the easiest option. But those who succeed are the ones who refuse to stop sowing. They kept going when no one was watching. They trusted that their efforts would bear fruit in due time. Your future is not built in one day, but it is built day by day. Every moment is an opportunity to plant something that will grow. The words you speak, the actions you take, the way you spend your time, all of it is shaping the life you will live in the years to come. If you are not satisfied with what you see in your life today, it is not too late to start planting differently. The ground is still fertile. The opportunity is still there. The choice is still in your hands. God has given every person a purpose, a calling, a reason for being. But that purpose does not fulfill itself. It requires action, commitment, and faith. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for a sign, waiting for circumstances to align before they step into what they were created to do. But waiting is not faith. Faith is moving forward even when the path is unclear. Faith is taking the first step before you see the whole staircase. Faith is trusting that if God has placed a calling on your life, He will also provide the strength, the wisdom, and the resources to fulfill it. Nothing happens without action. Dreams do not come true simply because you hope for them. Success does not arrive simply because you desire it. A meaningful life is not handed to you, it is built, one decision at a time. And the first decision is to take action. It does not matter how small that action is. What matters is that you begin. The difference between those who fulfill their calling and those who do not is not their talent, their background, or their circumstances. And it is their willingness to move when God says, go. Too many people let fear keep them frozen. They are afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, afraid of what others will say. But fear is not from God. Fear is the tool of the enemy. designed to keep you from stepping into the life you are meant to live. Fear will tell you to wait, to delay, to second-guess yourself. But faith says, move. Faith says, trust. Faith says, step forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Every person in history who has accomplished something great had to move before they felt ready. They had to take risks. They had to trust in something greater than themselves. And they had to believe that their efforts would not be in vain. God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He does not wait for you to be perfect before He gives you a mission. He does not wait for you to have every resource, every skill, or every answer. He calls you in your weakness, in your imperfection, in your uncertainty, and He asks you to trust Him. When you take a step in faith, He meets you there. When you commit to action, He provides the strength you need. When you refuse to let fear hold you back, He opens doors you never imagined possible. Time is passing whether you act or not. Every day that you hesitate, every day that you delay is a day you will never get back. The next 30 years of your life will be determined by what you do today. If you take action now, if you commit to your purpose, if you refuse to let fear control you, you will wake up years from now living the life you were meant to live. But if you wait, if you let fear win, if you refuse to step forward, you will look back with regret, knowing that you had the opportunity, but never took it. There is no perfect time to start. There is only now. There is only today. The doors will not open unless you walk toward them. The opportunities will not appear unless you are willing to take the first step. God has placed a calling on your life, but He will not force you to walk in it. That decision is yours. The choice is in your hands. What you do today will determine the future that unfolds before you.